Good evening, everyone. If you're ready, we'll start the press conference after the match from Unicaja. First, with the assessment of the coach. Joan Lassa, please, your assessment. Well, it won the one who deserved it, the one who played more, who had less mistakes. I think they justify not just Real Madrid quality and that Doncic scores a lot and gets 10 rebounds and everything else, but looking at ourselves and what we did, which is what I always do, is true that losing 16 balls is quite difficult to compete at a higher level, especially with a team as Real Madrid. To have 13 points from the offensive rebound score means that we closed it quite poorly. We allowed 23 throwers for them. And obviously at 21% on three-pointers against 50% makes the difference to be the one we see, of course. And that's it. This is our fourth match this week. We want to compete. We have an important one on Sunday, and let's go for it. Thank you. Questions for the coach? Please identify yourself and the company that you represent. Marina Riva from Periódico Sur. Do you think this is a consequence of the matches, of the tight schedule you have and the last of play we've seen during the match? Well, I don't know you, but someone from Malaga, and I've mentioned this quite often for the guy in Madrid that I was here for 3 years. I never remember about the injured ones, although Nedovic is important, and I don't say that it's something that happens to teams at the League. We know this is a tough schedule, 4 matches in 7 days. We have to go towards Andorra for an important match on Sunday. So this is at a general level, and it happens to everyone. I really don't like for my leader, my coach, would whip over these things. It's kind of obvious that playing so many matches, one of the reasons is like that we have such a low percentage in shots and Lidovic. We all created a person, and the club and himself and team, we had a great need, but that's what we did. Over here, Carlos Santiago Blas from Onda Madrid. Joan, on the other side, you said, Pablo Lasso said that some injuries from your team were directly related with the schedule, not just from the EuroLeague, but at the regular league and everything we're talking about in the basketball world. Do you think it's dangerous now that you're doing these both things, EuroLeague and Endesa League, what comes forward for big teams and for a bit less of a bigger teams? We always talk that any overpressing is bad, and I've been saying this for many years, that here we need to sit down around a table and talk about it. Otherwise, we're just overhurting the cow so much that it's going to die. That in a more general way, that to generate injuries or poor results. The injuries we have from Mirovic, for instance. Some come from the national team, forbade him from being in the national team. But this is a general evil, so I think this is a debate we have to do afterwards. To have it during the season is like from the advantage point of view, and especially if you're losing, so I hate that. I would rather talk about this when I'm winning and not when I'm losing, because it seems like an excuse. So we should have a better schedule, and maybe it's true that we arrive into that. I don't know exactly. I was looking at a calendar from NBA, and they play 4 matches per week on a normal basis. It's true that they have charter door-to-door, and in Europe only 3 teams can do that. Nevertheless, it's something we have to discuss amongst all of us, knowing that we all will lose a bit, like FIBA, EuroLeague, ACB, so we have a more coherent schedule. But for me, today is not the day. You can ask Lassot, who won, but to have that, it seems that I'm whipping, and I don't like that. Any further questions? What is the message for the fans who are looking at such an irregular Unicaja in the last few matches? As I explained before the match we had against Algiers, we were 3-3, if I remember correctly. Barcelona was 1-5, Baskonia was 1-5. Today, when we started, I don't know the way they finished. I think we're tied up with Valencia, the EuroLeague. Madrid, before this match was one match away from us. So I think that the EuroLeague is no place to talk about that. And of course, we want to have 2 more wins on ACB. Whether it's from being tired or not, or the calendar, it could be, because we all need to play better. But of course, we need to learn, understand that those are the circumstances. Teams that have been winning for 30 and they lose, and teams that are winning, not just us that we lose for 20-something, but teams with a lot more experience on ACB, there's an ACB and EuroLeague, and they're losing. So it's not just about the EuroLeague or Unicaja. We have to look at ourselves, and we have to pay attention maybe at EuroLeague where we could get a bit more. Losing with Salgiris on the second extension, it's a pain in the butt. Or losing against Bamberg at home by 4, well, it's bad, but we saw that they had a comeback of 30 points. So it's not easy. EuroLeague is the highest level. At ACB, we wanted to have a couple more. Of course, I agree with you and the fans, but I insist this is a group. Managers, players, technical staff, and the fact that we have small percentages may be related to that. And the same way a forwarder will not score for a while, we will end up by scoring, and we will end by adapting to this pace of competition. But that's it. There's nothing else to be talked about. A last question over there. In weeks like this one, Joan, how important is to make results relative, meaning not to go pissed off at home when you lose, or to think you're wonderful when you win? Well, I think that's key, especially the ones in the EuroLeague last year. And I was explaining on another press conference the results from this week on NBA, that now we can see what happens over there regarding stress. And there were 6 matches in the last day with a difference of ±20. Obviously, you need and try to win. But when you know that you're going to play again 36 hours from now, 48 hours from now, of course, you have to be able to play your cards and to have a strategy. And maybe if you try and recover and you don't make the match, you are so wear out that you're going to pay for it. And the next match was maybe you have more opportunities to win. So in the same way as when we won Fenerbahce, we won Nefes Pilsen, which seemed to be quite bad, and they won Maccabi Barcelona and so ever, we don't get a bottle of champagne to celebrate. We have to be consequent, and we have to do better and to see how we can maximize and improve our performance for the next match immediately. And then we have Cheska, so it's just not to undervalue the defeat. We have to learn from it, but in a given moment, like it will happen with Real Madrid a couple of days ago with Asconia, when you lose enough 30 in the third quarter, okay, you may try and get back, but people, we have to get educated ourselves, players, managers, public and fans, that there's a given moment where Pablo was already thinking more about this match than about recovering the Baskonia's match. And that's common when you play 70 matches or 80 matches, like I'm sure Real Madrid will play. Okay, thank you. Good night. Seek it out and ye shall find. Old, but I'm not that old. Young, but I'm not that bold. And I don't think the world is sold. I'm just doing what we're told. I feel something so right, doing the wrong thing. And I feel something so wrong, doing the right thing. I could lie, couldn't lie, could lie. Everything that kills me makes me feel alive. Lately I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. Baby, I've been praying hard. Said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Lately I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. Baby, I've been praying hard. Said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Hey. I feel your love and I feel it burn down this river every turn. Hope is our four-letter word. Make that money, watch it burn. Old, but I'm not that old. Young, but I'm not that bold. And I don't
flame. I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. But baby, I've been praying hard. Said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Lately, I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. But baby, I've been praying hard. Said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Oh, take that money, watch it burn, sink in the river, the lessons I learned. Take that money, watch it burn, sink in the river, the lessons I learned. Take that money, watch it burn, sink in the river, the lessons I learned. Take that money, watch it burn, sink in the river, the lessons I learned. Everything that kills me makes me feel alive. I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. Baby, I've been praying hard. Said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Lately, I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. But baby, I've been praying hard. Said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Watch it burn, sing in the river, the lessons I learned. Take that money, watch it burn, sing in the river, the lessons I learned. Take that money, watch it burn, sing in the river, the lessons I learned. Take that money, watch it burn, sing in the river, the lessons I've learned.
This is my heartbeat song and I'm gonna play it. Been so long I forgot how to turn it up, 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 up all night long. Oh, up all night long. You, where the hell did you come from? You're a different kind of fun, and I'm so used to feeling numb. Now I got pins and needles on my tongue, anticipating what's to come, like a finger on a loaded gun. I can feel it rising temperature inside me, haven't felt it for a long time. This is my heartbeat song and I'm gonna play it. Been so long I forgot how to turn it up, 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 up all night long. Oh, up all night long. This is my heartbeat song and I'm gonna play it. Turned it on, but I know you can take it up, 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 up all night long. Oh, up all night long. I wasn't even gonna go out, but I never would have had a doubt if I'd have known where I'd be now. Your hands on my hips and my kiss on your lips, so I could do this for a long time. This is my heartbeat song and I'm gonna play it. Been so long I forgot how to turn it up, 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 up all night long. Oh, up all night long. This is my heartbeat song.
Good evening. Now the press conference after the match with assessment of Pablo and questions. Hello. First, to congratulate the guys for the win. I think it was quite a solid match on our side from the beginning, both from the defensive and defensive point of view. We were able to stop the strong points. We found ourselves being solid. From that onwards, we had a good pace on the attack. We had good shootings. We missed some spark, which is normal, but nevertheless we were able to have an important win, especially knowing that we were coming from 3 consecutive defeats in the EuroLeague, and we tried to recover a bit that feeling of play and to win. I'm not very much results-oriented, but of course we needed this win, so I'm happy with the way the team worked. And know that we don't have a lot to recover. On Saturday we have another commitment. questions for Pablo, as usual. Please identify yourself and the company that you represent. Nomi Fernandez, Real Madrid Television. Congratulations on the win. So would you told them to take a step forward regarding defense. Are you going to do that? Well, not just defensively. Basketball, if you just stop on the defense, is quite broad. There are many aspects to it. Game conditions, one-on-one situations, rebound situations. So you start defending. It goes to being aggressive with the ball, to do different things, to come out of the block situations. So there are many things. And I believe that today, in most aspects, we were doing quite well. That also allowed us to have a pace during the match, and to attack properly was also something very good. So we could be solid from the defensive point of view. We had less losses. And they're dangerous in that sense, on the offensive rebound and recovering the ball. We tried and controlled that, and from that moment always we based a bit the win. Hello, first congratulations on your win. Pedro Martinez, Deportes Madrid. Tavares had a kind of a problem with the fouls. He was eliminated. He had 2 in the first quarter. What's the solution according to this for this subject? Well, first to see if all of them were fouls, because I'm not so sure about some. But obviously he has to get used to European basketball. He's been playing at the NBA for a while, therefore he has to see the situation when he can go into a foul. But in general, I think he was quite well, he was solid. Especially bearing in mind that he's been training with the team for once. So he has a lot of leeway to improve. Because of 2 things, because of himself and because the team needs to know what Eddie can contribute to and take advantage of. So this is a matter of time, which is normal, not just regarding fouls, many other aspects as well, but in general I think his match was quite solid. 8 points, 8 rebounds in 70 minutes. Numbers speak properly, good numbers, but I think the feeling was quite good for the team. For Bernabeu.com, the importance of the win that you talked about, I would like to ask if it was most important to win today because of the mental factor more than the adding a win to the box. And as a coach of Real Madrid, when there were a number of consecutive defeats, what do you feel when the public remembers you in the last moment and goes with you? As I always say in sports, winning is important. Especially, I try for my team to be competitive every single day. And that's what I'm proudest of about my team. Although I wouldn't like to talk about it, we had a bad match in Vitoria with a schedule which is quite demanding. We were quite close to win in Tel Aviv. We had to analyze why I didn't win in Tel Aviv. It was quite close to win Barcelona. We're talking about great teams. In less than 10 days, we're playing 5 matches. Therefore, as a coach, a bit my obligation is to be clear on how the team is improving, no matter what the results are. Of course, today was an important day after 3 consecutive defeats at the EuroLeague, playing home against an opponent who had 3 wins, so it could have matched up in the classification with us. So the win today was important, I believe, and to recover that feeling of having a good match and win. Regarding my own things, well, I just would like to thank the public, because they value my job. That's not personal. I think everyone likes to be valued at their job, and I really appreciate the gesture from the public. Although it's for myself, personally, I think it's for the team, because I consider just another part of the team. I don't think I'm someone special. I'm, of course, the coach. But at the end of the day, it's another part of what Real Madrid is. And so we can win, so we can be competitive, so people can be proud of us. There's a lot of people working behind this, so this is the result. I enjoyed, appreciate it. I'm sure my kid watch it and he'll be happy. But this is a recognition for the whole team. And it's something I appreciate, especially after a bad match like the one from 2 days ago in Vitoria. Alex Madrid for Eurohubs. My questions about one of the injured ones, Randolph. Do you know how long he's going to be in a sick leave, or we have to be paying attention? I think I've mentioned this yesterday. Anthony's status is a bit strange. The injury happened on Sunday. This is kind of my thing, but I think it happens on Sunday. We traveled to Vitoria on Monday. He feels more or less in pain, but he was saying he was okay. Morning time, he's a bit bored, but he wants to play. And during the break in Vitoria, we saw that he was there. He wanted to play. I got him on the third quarter, but we noticed that he was crippled. After Vitoria, in the bus, how he is, what can happen. I think we have a great medical staff, and they act quite quickly. And what is fun after the season we're having is that the first words from the doctor is like, he's happy, because it was nothing more serious. He has a beginning of a broken bone, just speaking plainly, not as a doctor, because I don't know. He's going to be for about 15-20 days, totally stopped, and then we'll have to see the evolution. 2-3 weeks are the very minimum for sure. But, and although it sounds strange, the doctor was happy, because it could have been a lot longer. Pilar Casado, Cadena Cope. Pablo, you always said in the last few weeks that as the market we were seeing, we had to be patient about adding with all the injured players you have inside. How long can you take with Felipe and Tavares plus Dino, Machulis? Is that something that you can take for so many other weeks? Well, I hope Randolph to come back. I hope John to come back. Kudus is the one I don't think is coming back in this season, because his injury is the most serious one, and I hope Jules to come back. How long can we take it? I'm not looking so far in the future. Right now, what is important is that we just got a player which is very important for us and for the future of the team, like Eddie. We need time to get him in. I'm really happy for him being here. And from that moment onwards, we'll have to find players that can step forward and improve us as a team. Today, he really had a great match. Luca played well. Facu played well. I thought it was more important to provide more times to Jonas than Dino. But Dino, when we had a streak of matches, he was magnificent. So in that sense, I don't think a lot about holding, but to focus on the team being able to adapt as long as necessary. I think I have a great stuff. And in moments which are kind of screwed, especially because of the injuries. And you hear me about this. The problem is not when they fall, it's when they get back, because you have to get them back to the team, and all that has a process, which sometimes you suffer more than when they're injured, because when they're injured, you know someone else is going to play. But to take the pace back, to be in shape back again. And right now what I'm worried about is that the ones that are here are in the best possible conditions. I cannot answer how long we can take it for, but I'm worried about the Betis next week, and to improve and to keep on being competitive. What's obvious is that Randall's explained more or less the timeline. We'll have to see it. Gustavo will have to see. Yul, who unfortunately is not going back at this season is good. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Stand up like a soldier, baby. Yeah, I know you been like that. Gun it like a holster, baby. Show them say you're wicked like that. We live for the